We begin in the United States, where scenes of tragedy and chaos unfolded in the state of Missouri after a shooting at the Super Bowl victory parade for the Kansas City Chiefs. At least one person was killed and 21 others injured in Kansas City. 15 of those injured suffered life-threatening injuries, and 9 children ages 6 to 15 were treated for gunshot wounds. Just moments before the shooting, the Super Bowl champions were seen soaking up the admiration from fans. The nearly 3-kilometer procession had hundreds of thousands of partying supporters turning the streets into a sea of red. Shots rang out just moments after the jubilant Chiefs players addressed the huge, adoring crowd. Local reports said Kansas City Chiefs players were still on stage when the shots first rang out. The barrage of gunfire triggered panic among the crowd of fans who were seen fleeing after what had been a joyous morning of celebrating the NFL champions.
I'm incredibly upset, disappointed. I was there with my wife, I was there with my mother. We never would have thought that we, along with Chiefs players, along with fans, hundreds of thousands of people, would be forced to run for our safety today.
And we were headed back to the direction where the Uber had dropped us off when all of a sudden people started crushing forward. Everybody started running. There was screaming. We didn't know what was happening, but this day and age when people run, you run. And so I put my arms around her and we tried to push through so people wouldn't run on top of us. And there was a woman crying, saying something about somebody had been shot. Of course, it's hard to know, is it a singular incident or is there an active shooter?
A dramatic video from the site of the attack shows how police and fans teamed up to apprehend a suspect with a firearm. 3 people have been detained and are under investigation. The motive for the gun violence is not yet known.
I'm angry at what happened today. The people who came to this celebration should expect a safe environment. We had over 800 law enforcement officers, Kansas City and other agencies, at the location to keep everyone safe. Because of bad actors, which were very few, this tragedy occurred, even in the presence of uniformed law enforcement officers, who again ran towards them and took them into custody. Right now, we do not have a motive, but we are asking those who may potentially have any kind of information, a witness, or video to contact police.
Now, the Kansas City Chiefs players condemned the shooting, but did express gratitude to emergency personnel. In fact, a statement from the team said they were truly saddened by the senseless act of violence. After the incident, U.S. President Joe Biden himself urged action on gun control. He went on to say that such an attack to occur during a Super Bowl parade cuts deep into the American soul. He also issued a rallying call for Americans to back his plea for Congress to enact gun reform, which bans assault weapons, limits high-capacity magazines, and strengthens background checks. Mass shootings have been a common occurrence in the United States, where there are more guns than people, and about a third of adults own a firearm. On Wednesday, the Kansas City attack wasn't the only shooting to actually make headlines. In fact, in Atlanta, 4 students were shot outside a high school after they were fired at upon from an unknown vehicle. And right here in the Washington, D.C. area, 3 officers were wounded in a shooting while making an arrest for animal cruelty. Polls show a majority of Americans favor stricter gun regulations. However, a powerful firearms lobby and some voters favoring strong gun rights have repeatedly obstructed lawmakers from actually acting. From impeachments to inaugurations, if it's a political story, we are on the scene. The race for the White House is heating up.
We're beating Biden.
How dare he say that?
If it's breaking news, we're live with the latest coverage. From the White House, the State Department, and Capitol Hill, we know the issues, but above all, we know the players to bring you the latest in-depth analysis on all the key stories that we're covering. I'm Eric Ham. Join me from Washington here on Firstpost America.